Hey there, this is Dan Fagella, and welcome to this CLVboost tutorial on conversion optimization, the big picture. So a quick overview of what we're going to be covering today. We're going to talk about the takeaways that you'll get from this presentation. What is a conversion and where do conversions happen? Conversion optimization, the 4 quadrants of the CLVmap customer lifecycle. Common errors to avoid in conversion rate optimization, things a lot of people often will omit, and principles to stick to and immediate action steps that you can take directly after this presentation. So in terms of takeaways, number 1, you'll understand the most useful and measurable conversion points for your business. Number 2, you'll be able to determine conversion checkpoints for your business as well. You'll gain some immediate insight on where your conversions are being left behind and what you can do about it now. So defining a conversion. Conversion is sort of an interesting topic because oftentimes it's used in excessively broad context, and sometimes it's only referred to a purchasing context or even a first purchase context. We're going to talk about what it could mean and what we're going to use for this presentation. So traditionally, a conversion refers to the process of turning a website visitor or a current prospect into a customer via a purchase, i.e. converting them from either a viewer or a lead into a buyer. This is normally what conversion means. So conversion also commonly refers to the process of turning a website visitor or a social media follower into an email list subscriber. That's a conversion as well, converting them into a lead, converting them into an overt prospect. At CLVboost, we define conversion by the definition that we believe is most useful for a business, which is taking a viewer, prospect, or customer through a measurable threshold that takes them further down the buyer's journey towards higher customer lifetime value. Again, notice that we've underlined measurable. This has to be something that we can track and something that has a tangible impact on the bottom line. So for example, there might be an e-commerce company with a tremendous success rate with conversion from Facebook to front-end purchases. So we might call, if we have somebody on our subscriber base or someone listening to or reading our newsletter or listening to our podcast, getting them to the fan page, we might call some kind of a soft conversion. It might be a conversion point that's useful for us if we're using the fan page frequently to be able to drive to our front-end purchases. If a software as a service company tangibly increases its retention rate when its customers join a private LinkedIn group, that might be called a conversion as well. That might be a measurable checkpoint that we want to kind of check off as we sign someone up for this software as a service. So presumably in this private LinkedIn group, they get best practices, they get a community of other folks that like the service and are using it, and if that tangibly influences the customer lifetime value, then we may track it as a conversion. However, for the sake of this presentation, we'll be focusing on the most clear and distinct online conversions that matter most for the majority of our clients, and that is converting viewers to leads, which we would call an opt-in, and converting leads to customers, which we would call a purchase. So we'll talk about this in a few different contexts as we move through. So bear in mind, you can title a conversion whatever you'd like to title it, so long as it has a meaningful impact for customer lifetime value and it really is tangibly beneficial for your business. The most blatantly obvious examples herein, again, an opt-in and an initial front-end purchase. So moving along, CLVmap Overview. So this is what we're going to be climbing through today during this presentation. We're going to look at most of the quadrants here and what conversion might mean or imply. We have collecting, connecting, converting, and circulating. So collecting is acquiring the leads, connecting is segmenting and qualifying them, converting is getting them to sales or appointments, and then circulating is the ongoing communication that we have to our customers and to our prospects after they've bought or haven't bought or whatever the case may be. So first we'll talk about the collection phase. Relatively obvious what a conversion implies here. This is someone who opts in or becomes a lead. So they fill out a form for a white paper, they fill out a form for a newsletter, they download a free video course, they get on a free trial of your software. Whatever the case may be, they become a lead by entering their information. They didn't necessarily throw down a credit card, but they did enter their information. So here we can see split testing or A/B testing landing pages or homepage variations is one of the quick kind of go-to tools of improving our conversions on the collection phase. We also can make, commonly done here would be headline changes and also placement of the opt-in form and then subheadline and button of the opt-in form itself. So there's a lot of sort of easy to move the needle points of change that we can make on a main website. We can alter the entire format. We can move the opt-in box from one place to another. The example down below is from a picture from Visual Website Optimizer where they talk about kind of headline changes. So we might even have color changes. We might have a certain headline section with a different color or a different call to action, whatever the case may be. Generally, your main headline will make an awful big difference on any given landing page or even a home page. And then again, placement of opt-in form is another easy point to tweak. You might have it on the left, you might have it on the right, you might have it above one of your videos or below one of your videos, whatever the case may be on this landing or home page. But places that are getting the majority of your traffic or a lot of your traffic should always be being split tested so we can start to up our conversion to lead on the front end of our website. So whatever the landing or home page might be, if nothing else, making drastic changes that are fitting to the customers that we're trying to attract to our headline and potentially to the format of where the opt-in box is itself are usually pretty nice levers to move to find variations that convert higher and bring us in more leads per visitor. Common errors here. Neglecting major testing on high traffic pages. So any page that gets a tremendous amount of viewers ought to be tracked. So that could be a landing page, it could be a home page, but it's also important to note that it could be a content page. So ignoring lead capture opportunity on other pages, including potentially blog posts. Again, it could be a content page, but if it gets a lot of traffic, there need to be opportunities for us to let people take that next step forward in their customer journey, in their customer life cycle. And oftentimes that's going to be getting them to opt in. Especially for a higher ticket item, very few people are, after they read a blog post, ready to pull out the credit card, but many people are ready to opt in and enter for more information if you have something nice to give them. So HubSpot's a great example of this. HubSpot is a marketing company, marketing software company, and HubSpot is a very prolific blog where at the bottom of their blog post they often have very succinct calls to action for folks to get in on their stuff. So this is a nice big blog post. At the bottom of this nice big blog post we have transform your website into your top salesperson, get free guide. So this is essentially how to convert visitors to sales on the internet with a basic ebook guide that these folks have put together at HubSpot. So bada bing, bada boom, this is a high traffic page. This is a page that they thought was important enough to be testing something, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if they're testing multiple opt-in opportunities, multiple ebooks, multiple white papers in order to solicit that information. So any page that's high traffic, whether this is a content page, whether it's a main landing page, whether it's your home page, wherever oodles of your hits are being made, having the capacity to both test and find new and unique ways to vet out leads from those pages is a very, very top tier priority for anybody that's looking to up their conversion in the collection phase. If you want more leads, quick and dirty way to do it would be follow what HubSpot's doing with their content, but also make sure you're testing your major landing and home pages. Moving along to the conversion phase. So this is the most obvious place where we can talk about the term conversion, because this is literally turning someone from a non-buyer or a lead into a buyer. And of course it is buyers that keep all of us employed and make the world go round and all sorts of fancy stuff like that. So split testing or A/B testing, order forms, purchase pages, appointment forms, product titles and descriptions, appointment form, call to action, and format. So this is an important thing to think about. A lot of people consider, oh man, all that fancy internet marketing tricks, somebody could do that if they're selling, they're selling iPods online. But that's not for me, really. I mean, I'm selling a service. People have to book an appointment, and then I have to talk to them. The fact of the matter is, you can and should be A/B testing across the board. So if you are selling via appointment, you can often have as much, if not more, leverage to getting more sales for yourself if you're split testing your appointment form. So yes, you do have to get them on the phone. So if your business requires you to talk to someone in person, I'm afraid that I can't change your business model for you. But what I can do is I can say that, hey, what's the call to action to get somebody in on the appointment form? And can we change that button text? What does the appointment form look like? And can we change what it looks like? If it looks like this kind of goofy looking form over at the bottom right here, we might want to swap it up and see if we can get a higher appointment rate with a better form. a form that's maybe a little bit more visually appealing, that maybe has some testimonials around it that encourage the appointment. There's all sorts of ways that we can crank the leverage on getting people from website visitor to appointment to be sold via these same tools of conversion rate testing. But often the service level folks, the folks that sell on the phone, don't see the value of the online until you crank up the numbers, and then of course it's of tremendous value to them. So we've also got an e-commerce page here, as you can tell. Again, we can swap up the e-commerce page, what it looks like. We can swap up the format, whatever we want to do. We can swap up the order form after they click a product. And there's a lot of factors to test there. But in terms of upping conversion rate, often service businesses are a little bit worse at this than the e-com folks. But again, if you're in the e-com space, you're selling physical and digital products. Product titles and descriptions, as well as product images, are often going to be nice little leverage points in addition to the format for the site as a whole. It's always good to model folks that are selling a lot, like the Amazons of the world, by the way. Good to kind of piggyback on the smart guys. Common errors here. We see neglecting to split test the entire purchase process. So the e-commerce page, the order form, and the thank you page. If you have an order form after they click the e-com page, we have to be testing the order form as well. Their general formats, background colors, headlines, progress bars, testimonials, all sorts of elements on the order form that can up our conversion. If you go to Crazy Egg, which is a software company, and you aim to purchase their software, you'll see on their order form they have a whole bunch of testimonials. They have some Q&As. You know, what happens if this? Does your company still work if I do that? And those are all factors that they've invariably tested, the folks running Crazy Egg, which is, again, a software company. So for anyone out there tuning in right now, if you're only testing the e-com page, but you're not testing the order form or the thank you page, being able to test all of those areas to kind of turn the needle a little bit is more than important. For a thank you page in e-commerce, we might test a coupon code immediately after first purchase. We might test a related product and see if we can get some additional margin there so we can throw those bucks back into advertising. There's a lot of ways to play this game, but people that aren't testing soup to nuts front to back oftentimes are missing important conversion points and conversion checkpoints, as we refer to them, that they could be continuously referring to refine the machine, to get better conversions out the back end time and time again. So even a 4% higher return on a small facet of the conversion process can yield massive returns in terms of the bottom line of the business, especially if you can crank up 4% on even a few different facets. 4% higher click-through on e-com products in the first place, 4% higher completion rate of the order form. All of a sudden, you stretch that out over about 3 months, and we're talking about a lot of money keeping itself in the business's bank account. The circulation phase here. This is our ongoing communication with leads and prospects, as well as past customers. So what does a conversion mean here? Oftentimes, in the circulation phase, we're going to be split testing our ongoing mail and email communications in order to attain either recurring sales. So some people have a recurring billing model. They want to find all the factors that proliferate recurring money. They want to get targeted repeat sales. So a company like Target or Amazon, they might want someone to come back and get more books, come back and get another appliance, come back and get more clothes, whatever the case may be. Or they might want qualified referrals. Can you bring other people through the front door for us? Software companies will often have incentives. Other businesses often have incentives. And if qualified referrals are not tracked as a conversion point, if they are not a checkpoint and a threshold that we're looking at every month to gauge our progress, then oftentimes we're not getting any more of them than we did the month before. If anything, we're getting less. So by making them a calibrated metric that we're consciously focusing on with our ongoing communication, we can now look to lift referrals on the back end by making it a conversion. Because technically it is. It's a conversion from another person who's a viewer to a person who's now a lead. So common errors here are boring, blanketed messaging to past customers that doesn't differ from what prospects receive. That's never good. If we're giving them calls to action to buy things they've already bought, that's of course terrible. If we're speaking to them in a way that doesn't convey the fact that they've paid us, that they're sort of on our team, that can often distance them more than it keeps them in. So to fix that one, we'd be looking at customer-specific newsletters and broadcasts and prospect-specific newsletters and broadcasts at the bare minimum, although there's a lot more segmentation opportunity there. Neglecting to find referral opportunities and incentives for delighted customers. Oftentimes people are happy with your stuff and they would refer people. They're just nothing in place to be able to encourage those referrals. So one of our jobs at CLVboost is finding the best practices of excellent referral incentivizing companies and being able to plug those into a consulting firm, an e-commerce business, whatever the case may be, to make sure that referrals is something that we can track and drive up over time. Next, we have not having a clear system in place to encourage repeat business with existing customers. So what are the upsell and cross-sell opportunities, and how are we succinctly driving people to them after they purchase? If there is no game plan, it doesn't have to be aggressive, but if there's no game plan in place, there is money being left on the table. Not a facet of the business where people should be neglecting a conversion focus. Often it is. First purchase is what we care about, and then we forget. Often here at CLVboost, one of the easiest ways that we can crank the bottom line in any business is putting in place systems to encourage repeat purchases. Principles to stick to: test everything related to conversion, but begin by testing your highest trafficked pages, those which are currently responsible for the most leads and/or the most sales. So if you're going to start with tracking, you could put a tracking code and split test every single page on your website. Probably a waste of time and also not a great way of prioritizing. We should be looking first and most immediately at the pages getting the most traffic. Next up, providing multiple opportunities for conversion is key. Don't just have one white paper to download or one email to encourage an e-commerce purchase. So persistence and variety. If you go to HubSpot, which is another great example, a lot of their blog posts have a lot of different white papers on them. If you see some of the work from our business, we have multiple white papers that we'll use even for CLVboost, in addition to other ways that we can kind of drive customers in the front door. And in an automated email sequence, don't just have one email asking for an appointment, because they might miss that one, or it might not catch their eye, or they might not care that day, or they might not be concerned that day. Have multiple calls to action for appointment, multiple calls to action to purchase, and be persistent with them. So whatever our highest converting initial front-end offers are, we need to be able to present those more to lift those conversion numbers. And that's not necessarily doing it in an aggressive or abrasive way. It just means not giving up. And oftentimes people do, with very short email sequences that really are not doing the job for the business. They're not serving their purpose. And then also test all of your ongoing communication post-purchase. Previous customers are a grossly untapped source of revenue with so many of the businesses we work with. I already mentioned that, but again, succinct processes and procedures that are testable. So in other words, we have a system, in terms of a conversion checkpoint, like we talked about for the takeaways from this presentation. The checkpoint might be the subject lines for all of these various emails that go out to past purchasing customers. We might find a series of subject lines that converts higher than another series of subject lines. We might have a series of back-end products or upsell opportunities that convert higher than another sequence of backsell opportunities and products and what have you. So being able to track those over time is of massive import as well. And bear in mind, if any of you have questions about how to apply this to your own business, you're interested in getting in touch with us here at CLVboost. There's a lot of overall assessment work that we do with companies large and small, but in addition to that, we'll oftentimes be tasked with specific projects, which could be lifting conversion in specific areas. People might know for a doggone fact that they really need a lot of focus on the collecting phase in terms of split testing, working with their order forms, their opt-in forms, their white papers, their calls to actions, their webinars, ways of being able to get new leads into their list, and they need us on board to work hot and heavy in that particular area. For other folks, it might be conversion on the back end. It might be their circulation. They know they need their newsletters fixed. They're having thousands of people receive messaging that's not driving any meaningful action or really adding to their bottom line. So we'll be, again, tasked with honing in on a particular area, but we're happy to answer any particular questions and are interested in the projects you might have underway. So although we're awful busy, as is always the case, even though I can be nice and calm and steady as I'm going through these presentations, of course, there's always a lot to juggle. But if you have a particular project that you're interested in presenting to CLVboost, you can visit us online there at www.clvboost.com/strategy to submit a project that you're interested in and see if it might be a fit for us. So thanks again for watching this presentation on conversion optimization, the big picture. I'm Dan Fagella with CLVboost, and we'll catch you next time.